Talo Falava and welcome to Behind the Lava Lava Business Spotlight, where we highlight businesses that are making a difference in our community. I'm your host, Michael Tan, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Johnny. In this segment, we place the person behind the business, giving them a platform to share their unique experiences and connect with a wider audience. So our goal is to promote these businesses and give them the visibility they deserve. Our show is brought to you by Matai Watches, a luxury timepiece brand that embodies the essence of the Pacific Islands. So whether you're looking for a watch to wear to work or complement your island style, Matai Watches has got you covered. This is Behind the Lava Lava Business Spotlight. Let's get started. Today we have a very special guest. We have Rob joining us today. He's the owner of Washie. Rob, could you tell us about your origins, where you're from?
Yeah, Mike, Johnny, thanks for having me on the show. Excited to be here. Thanks for the opportunity to share my story. Origins of Rob Poleki, born and raised in Manurewa, New Zealand. So parents are from Samoa. Dad is from Pasifika, and then my mom is from a small town, Mangia, next to the airport in Apia, or Western Samoa. They moved over to New Zealand early 70s. And I was born and raised in New Zealand, and then in 93, when I was 12 years old, my parents made another jump to the States, and, to give us a better life. So 93 through 99, I was in high school in Hawaii. So kind of born, raised in New Zealand, switched over to Hawaii, had a New Zealand accent with a pidgin kind of slang to it. So yeah, man, that's kind of where I'm from.
So let's get straight into the business side real quick. How did you get started in the industry that you're at? Because you're the inventor of Washie, one of the smart toilet seat. Could you touch on that real quickly?
Yeah, so I invented a product. It's a sanitizing toilet seat for public restrooms. It's also a smart toilet seat. How I got into the industry, I had no business being in the restroom industry. One day I was at my desk. I was working the 9 to 5, and I was like, man, there's more for me out there. There's more for me to do in this world than sitting at this desk. And I went through the list of ideas that I had. I'm an idea guy, and I have hundreds of ideas. You just see the pages and pages of ideas I had. And I saw that nobody had disrupted this industry. Nobody had invented, something like this. And so I just went and did it. I just went on Google and YouTube and figured out how to invent this product. And that was in 2015. It's when I first started. And really what it was is, my son was 4 years old at the time. We were at the Salt Lake City airport, and, we're waiting in line. My son is, doing the potty dance. We wait in line, and the stall opens up. We encounter a dirty toilet seat, and so I put down the toilet seat covers, and I try to lift my 4-year-old son up, and he starts kicking and he's screaming. And he looks down and he doesn't want to sit on the toilet seat cover. So I go to the sink and grab some paper towels and soap, and I clean the seat for my son. And so then I sit down and have him sit down, and I went from a kid that was, crying and screaming to now kids smiling, taking care of business. And I thought, how come everything in this bathroom, in this restroom, is hands-free to eliminate germs, except the most important thing is the thing that you have to sit on. So I came up with this idea to find a way to help sanitize the seat before you sit. And so me getting into the restroom industry, I graduated from Idaho State University with a social work degree. So social work to manufacturing, to logistics, to invention, to engineering, CAD design, and no business being in this industry, but I just figured out a way to do it. And a cool story is that in 2015, I had that experience, and I came with the light bulb idea. And last year, 2022, we installed my product in the Salt Lake City airport. So full circle, the story comes full circle, a huge accomplishment for me as an inventor.
And could you break down the steps of how this toilet seat works? Because I want people to realize how easy it is to use.
Yeah. Yeah, so, when your parents tell you, the ipu, so it used to be called fufulu, but Fufulu with LOO at the end, like European Fufulu, right? And so really, basically, what it was is in New Zealand, we were always taught to wipe the seat down before you sit. Like find a way to clean the seat before you sit in a public restroom. So you grab some toilet paper, you wave your hand over a sensor, and sanitizing solution comes to the surface of the seat, and you grab the toilet paper and you sanitize the seat before you sit. So there's sanitizing foam that comes out of the seat on the surface of the seat, and you grab some toilet paper and you sanitize the seat. So what we're trying to do is get rid of paper toilet seat covers. Nobody uses them, and it's really been a psychological thing. Those thin papers aren't protecting you from anything. So when your sweaty butt sits on that thing, it's absorbent. So anything on the seat will seep through. So that's a new invention. With my product, we're changing bathroom and restroom behavior. When you find products that change culture, change the way people behave, like Airbnb or like Uber, it's changing a culture, right? You don't catch a taxi anymore. You go sit with somebody in their own car or go and sleep in somebody else's house. When you change culture, you have a product that can be a unicorn product. So that's why I picked it, and I was like, oh, this is a product that can disrupt the bathroom industry.
I know that it's one of those things where it's a huge. It can be very intimidating to try to push a product out there. I know with the internet and how fast information flies through, and then with trending topics and the aspect of going viral, it's very hard to think up of something that somebody else has already thought of. And then especially to put yourself out there, you take your idea and market it. Now, how daunting was it to actually go through with it? I know a lot of people have a lot of ideas, sitting in the back of a yate truck or hanging out with the friends, a fight kava session or something like that. You get these ideas, we could make life easier, but it's a lot harder to go from idea to reality. How was your mindset is essentially what I'm going for, is how was it to actually go through with it and to stick with the idea years and years of just believing it?
Yeah. Johnny, you hit it right on the money, right? There's tons of brilliant ideas out there. Guys in the Faikava and, everybody's talking about, oh man, I got this really good business idea.
Right.
But execution is the key, right? You can have $1 million product sitting in my closet and no one ever buys it. Execution is the key. And I've been told that as an entrepreneur by mentors, forever. The whole time I've been in this industry is you need to go and execute this idea. It's one thing to bring it to reality. So I went from an idea to actual manufacturing to logistics, shipping it from China to the Long Beach port to Utah to 3PLs, all of that stuff. And now I'm in the second part of it of distribution, D2C, B2B, like all that types of stuff. So the main thing with me is executing on your ideas, is stop talking about it and go and do it. So it was tough, man. It has been the toughest thing I've done in my life. I've done some tough things in my life, but my parents taught me. I was lucky. My parents always taught me and showed me how to keep taking risks and keep following through. Right. So my parents went from Samoa to New Zealand, took a big risk, right? And then they tried their best there, and then they took another risk. New Zealand to Hawaii. All we did was take our suitcases of clothes and went there with nothing. We had to live in KPT for a while, and until they just worked and got us out of there. And then I took a risk, went to Idaho by myself, went to school. So, and we always would take rides in our car, in our beat up car, in these nice neighborhoods, and we're like, man, one day I'm gonna get one of these houses. Everybody does that, but what are you gonna do to try to get one? Like, what are you really gonna do to get one of these houses? And so I've always had that mindset of, man, you gotta keep following through. You gotta make this happen. You gotta execute. Stop talking about it and go and do it.
As a business owner, I've been watching you and how much you've hustled over the years, and I wanted to touch on burnouts, right? Because we can keep going, but you get to a certain point where you get tired. And could you touch on a moment where you had to stop what you're doing, maybe rest because of your mental state, maybe because of your well-being?
Yeah. Mental health is huge in becoming an entrepreneur because you're all by yourself, right? So when I took the first leap of faith, so in Idaho, I was an elected official and I was in office for 2 terms. And then I told my wife and my mom and dad and my family that I was going to quit to become an inventor and to go on Shark Tank. And they were like, after talking them through it, my wife was like, okay, go and do this. And then I went out on my own and there was no money coming in anymore from the 9 to 5. We had other businesses. It was planned out. Our other businesses were paying for the bills, but now daddy with 4 kids and a wife wasn't bringing home any money. And that put a lot of stress on me. So from 2015 to 2018, I went all in. I cashed out my 401k. I put 100 grand of my own money into it, and I went full speed. So in 2019, I started raising money, and we raised $750,000 from friends and family, and angel investors. And so all that pressure of my family, my friends' money, my everybody counting on Rob to pull through with this cool product got to me, right? And so last year, and my wife has helped me through it, but last year I had to take a week off. I took 1 week off. I said, I'm going to leave the phone. Me and my wife went to Jamaica and relaxed. And I probably needed more than that, but burnout is a huge thing. I'm still burned out, right? I'm still trying to figure out how to keep going and keep going. And for me, now that I'm growing into this company, it's adding on more people that can take some of my role, right? Delegating my role, delegating my responsibilities to others. Now that we're making money, now that more money is generating through product, and it's been tough, man. It's definitely been the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life is to bring a product to life and go and sell it, and definitely has been tons of mental health breaks and times where I'm just like sitting down and like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing with my life? I could have been making hundreds of thousands of dollars as an employee, and I went and chose this route, took the hard route, and maybe one day in the end, all the gold at the end of the tunnel or the end of the rainbow will come to fruition, but it's not there yet. It's still hard. So it definitely has been tons and tons of burnout and times where I had to just take a break and reflect,
Well, it's like what they said. It's the journey, It's the journey to get there where you were. Yeah, no, it's it. Sometimes the journey might not be worth it. So now that you've answered a couple of my questions at the top of my head with gaining investors and helping push this product along. Now that you've kind of semi-established yourself or fully established yourself, do you strictly market to industrial, like large scale, or do you do like home products as well?
Yeah. So part of the journey, right? Part of the journey was to find out what was the 3 industries that our product fit in, right? What was our TAM? What was like the industries that would buy our product, would love our product, and we found that the airports, gas stations, and entertainment. So entertainment is theme parks, arenas, movie theaters, those types of places where the public will be. So with Invention, I made sure that there was some kind of subscription or reoccurring revenue model that came with the seed. So we sell toilet seats, but really my company is in the chemical business. There's a cartridge of chemical that goes inside of the seat. And so when they use that up every month, they're coming back to my company to buy chemical. And so the chemical margins are around 92%. That's how we make our money. So sometimes with big accounts, we just give away the seed and then we make our money back within the first 2 cartridges of chemical. And after that, they just, we're just profiting off of the chemical. So we're selling to B2B currently and some huge, we have some huge momentum for us this week this month. So we're meeting with some of the big players in the toilet seat industry this week, and a partnership there for B2C, so a consumer product, is what we're going for next. But always trying to grow, always trying to get strategic partners and distribution out there. So yeah, we're B2C in high traffic public restrooms.
Yeah, that's amazing feelings when you start to get partners. I know when our podcast started getting sponsors, we were like, oh, I think we made it, that
Yeah,
feeling, you feel accomplished.
right, right.
But could you share some stories or client testimonials, one of your favorites that you've read or people have told you about?
Yeah. So like I said, we got into Salt Lake City airports, but we actually got into the Delta Sky Club, right? So Delta Sky Club has partnered with us, and we are launching in a few of major cities: LA, Seattle, Denver, Atlanta, and well, we tested it in Salt Lake City. In 2 months' time, we received 700 over 750 five-star reviews. Now, we had a survey, and now you're talking about Delta Sky Club members, and these are people who have money, and you think they'll be picky, and so when we started getting the reviews, it was like the most nervous time of my life, right? Because we gave them an option to give us a 1 star or 5 star review, and when and I really needed them to start giving us 5 star reviews so that we could roll out to other Sky Clubs, and just a proud moment for me was when the data came back and we had like 760 5 star reviews. I couldn't believe it, man. Like something that I had invented. It's like people actually like this thing, and there's always doubts. Like you always have this imposter syndrome. You always have, oh, what am I doing? This thing sucks. I shouldn't have never made this thing. What am I doing with my life? And then when you get those kind of victories, man, it feels so good. It feels so good that I've come this far, and now I'm getting all these reviews. And so one of the reviews and comments that were left, and some lady went out of their way, was that she had never sat on a public toilet seat in her life. Like she was a squatter, she never sat down. And she wrote a comment that said this was the first time I ever sat down on a public toilet seat. So why is that so important to me, right? It's pretty important because I invented this thing for my kid, my 4-year-old son, and so he could go and have a good experience in a public restroom, right? And usually you don't have good experiences in the public restrooms, right? There's always bad experiences, and we're getting 5 star reviews in public restrooms. That's like crazy. And so now that this lady is able to sit, maybe that happens for others. Maybe that happens for other women and men. Maybe that happens for moms that have kids, that now they can go and use a Washie and sanitize the seat for their kid. And that was the real reason that I made the seat and came up with the idea. So those are always good times for me. There's tons of bad, but those are some of the good times that I've had, inventing this product.
I know it'd be a lot more appealing to our female members as well, just because, logistically as men, it's a 50-50 shot whether we sit on the john or not. That is crazy. You just, first of all, you blew my mind by the fact that you said that they have big wigs in the toilet seat industry. I didn't even know that was a thing. You know what I mean? It's amazing. Are you going to tell me that there's like a napkin industry as well? The dispenser.
So, yeah. So when I say big wigs in the restroom industry, companies like Georgia Pacific, like if you know,
yes.
Georgia Pacific is in paper. So all the dispensers inside restrooms, usually Georgia Pacific, Kimberly Clark. When you think about bigwigs in toilet seat business, it's Kohler, Bemis, American Standard, and these are companies. I mean, they're doing. Last year, one of the companies did $750 million in revenue in a year for toilet seats. And so when people think about, I'm going to be a millionaire, not knowing, do you know how much $750 million is? That's a ton of money. You know what I mean? And just in toilet seats. So that's who we're having some huge conversations with.
Nice. Yeah, it's amazing. And then the fact that people like us, our community. We're not limited to just nothing. It just takes the drive. Yesterday we spoke with a guy who had a son, was autistic, and it drove him to start a business as well. It's amazing what people the lengths that they'll go through for children, or for love, or for family. And so, I mean, kudos to you. That's an amazing story. And so do you have any sneak peeks or any future projects you got coming up that you might be expanding?
Yeah. So huge one for us is we're launching into travel stops on the road, so gas stations. So when we think about our product, companies and brands that buy Washie and that would consider buying Washie, it's an expensive product, and some people don't care about their restrooms, right? But gas stations and travel stops care about their restrooms, because it's why moms and it's why families stop on the side of the road, right? Stop at I-15. It's because you need to use the restroom. It's time to fill up on gas and buy snacks. And so if you have clean restrooms, moms know where to stop, right? Moms know where all the clean restrooms are if you're heading down to Vegas. And so gas stations have put together a business plan to renovate their restrooms. And we're coming in at a great time. And part of the strategy is that if they know that there's a Washie in the restroom, they have Washies in this gas station, that moms and families will stop, use the restroom on the way out, buy snacks, and fill up on gas. And that's how they increase their revenue. So we have a huge partnership with a company that services over 41,000 gas stations nationwide. And we're signing a distribution deal with them this month. And then again, I can't say the name, but we're meeting up with a big toilet seat company to figure out a residential seat. Nobody has disrupted residential toilet seats and made something new. I'm trying to make the George Jetson toilet seat of the future, right? And it's going to happen. They are inviting us. It's not like we are knocking on the door. They came and knocking on our door. So things are going really great for us.
So I work on a military base. I'm a civilian on a military base. Have you tried going on military bases and try to change their toilets? Because I'm tired of their toilets. So many people use the public restrooms, and I had to always split like 2-3 feet of toilet paper and put it on each side and at the back. I had one incident like a few years ago when I lived in Colorado Springs, where I got up, put my pants up, and one of those toilet papers was dangling from the back of my pants. So have you tried moving into that space?
Yeah. So Mike, I know that it's needed. We've had actually some people from the military reach out and say, look, you guys need to get into Air Force bases and, all kinds of stuff. But it's as our company grows, we like to look for facilities and private companies to purchase our seats because they have the money now, right? Military, government contracts, airports are so slow, right? So slow. Government contracting is so slow. We love private companies where, hey, we'll buy it today. Let's, and then with the military, you got to go RFP, you got to go, and bid out these projects, and it takes forever. So we're not against it, but we're just not at the point of our company where we can take our time and sell. We're on a grind. The mission for me and the mission for Washie is to sell in 2 years. We've had a M&A discussion, merger and acquisition discussion already with a company. We've had licensing deals with a company, but my journey is not to be the CEO of Washie for the rest of my life. I'm an idea guy. I need to launch my next 5 ideas. I can't wait to launch my next idea. Once Washie's going, I might find a CEO to run the company while I go off and launch my next idea. So that's a good point what I bring up. A lot of people try to find one thing in life that they can do and they stick with it, and that's fine. For me, it's always been what do I want to do next? So when I graduated from college as a social worker, became a social worker. During that time, I learned how to film. So in Hawaii, I became an independent filmmaker, and I won best short film at Hawaii International Film Festival. Me and my boys were like, we called ourselves Water Life, and we filmed all these short skits. And we were doing it with Laughing Salmons, at ease, or doing music videos way back early in the 2000s. And then when I moved over to Idaho, I left that, and I was like, okay, let me do something else. And then I became an elected official. Like, let me try this. Then I became an inventor. So the theme, what I'm trying to get at is, you don't have to do one thing in life and just be, cool with that. My next thing is, I'm not getting back into the restroom industry, but I'm definitely inventing another product that might be an AI or VR. So yeah, messages is just to figure out what you want to do. Keep going. If you don't like it, drop it. Move to the next thing.
And could you touch on how the support of our Polynesian community has been, or has there been any support, or what do you need from our community to kind of help you thrive a little?
So I hardly post on Instagram and Facebook because that's not my crowd right now. I'm B2B, so LinkedIn is where I've been. I have this 5 years ago. I started Gary V's LinkedIn strategy where I post once or twice a day, and now I got a good following. And some of my posts. Nobody's selling toilet seats on LinkedIn, especially a salmon 6'2", 300-pound guy, right? So I'm unique, and people know me when I go in the community. Like, oh, you're the toilet seat guy. Oh, you're Washie. I had to drop the ego and own that. Like, I was like, oh shit, I didn't know I was gonna be. Excuse my language. I didn't know I was gonna be called the toilet seat guy in public, but hey, I'd love to be called the guy who made millions of dollars selling toilet seats, right? So I had to kind of drop the ego. But as far as the Polynesian community, man, so much support, so much people, on the sidelines cheering on, and that's probably all an entrepreneur needs. Is it's like, Rob, keep going. So many people on LinkedIn, so many Polynesians see the story and say, Rob, I got this idea and I want to keep going with it. Give me some, So I've been trying to get feedback to others on how to move forward. But all people need is a cheering section. All people need is someone to back you and say, hey, I know that guy's doing good things in the community. That helps. Now, everything else, if you're not in the industry, if you're not in the restroom industry, really, it's hard to connect, right? But just being supportive in that way has been awesome.
Now, how has your family been? You can shout out your wife. I know she's been one of your main supporters. How have they been throughout your journey and to present day?
Yeah, really supportive. So my wife, before I quit my job, we owned a commercial cleaning company in Southeast Idaho, and that has been paying for the bills. And my wife runs that company. She's also a realtor, and so she's been holding down the fort since I've been on this journey. And we had a discussion before I left my job, and she was like the first one to say, "Go and try it. Go and do this and see how it turns out. It's a good idea." So without her blessing, I wouldn't have never done this because we have 4 kids, and they've all been supportive. My kids have been all in the commercials. I film commercials and I do all kinds of stuff with my kids to promote the company early on. My son has been on shows on podcasts with me as well because he was why I invented it, and so really supportive and proud, and they're just kind of waiting, for the huge celebration in the end, when we get to sell the company.
Looks like you just keep on keeping on, man. You're there's nothing I can do. Well, I mean, all I can do now is just be another guy on the sidelines cheering you on. I hope you succeed. I hope you sell that company. I hope you sell big. Maybe retire and build the next flying porta potty. You started it with the toilet seat thing. It's gonna stick for a while. You're gonna be the Washie guy. That. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and I like to ask our question is, do you have any questions for us behind the lava lava?
One thing I always love to, I've presented with, other Polynesian podcasts and groups out there, and not really a question, but if anyone is seeking help, needs some kind of advice on taking the next step or the leap of faith, reach out to me. Reach out to me on LinkedIn or find me on Instagram. I'm always open. I answer every single message. It might take me some time to get there, but I try to answer every single message that comes in, and always open to helping anyone that wants to become an entrepreneur. And maybe just think about if you really want to become an entrepreneur, right? It's okay to work a great job and become very successful in a career. If that's you, do that and be very rich. If that's not you and you're always thinking about ideas and always thinking about businesses, then probably you're an entrepreneur. And so it's okay to be both, to do one or the other. And so if you're an entrepreneur, I've been everywhere. I've been to China, to the manufacturing world, to figuring out how to design and engineer products. And so if anybody needs help, just reach out.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the advice. And this is Rob Poleki, everyone. Even though he doesn't want to be known for the toilet seat, but he's still going to claim the toilet seat of Washie. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Behind the Lava Lava Business Spotlight. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Remember, the businesses we feature in our show are always looking for support, so be sure to check out their websites and social media pages to learn more and see how you can get involved. And before I end it, Johnny, do you have an ad?
Yes, a quick message from our sponsor. Do you struggle to find life insurance because of your size or medical issues? Independent Life Insurance, owned by Ray Keller, has got you covered. Ray has been providing dedicated and professional service for almost 7 years, helping clients secure their futures. Most of Ray's clients are Polynesian who have had trouble finding life insurance elsewhere. With a perfect 5-star reputation and only turning away one person without an option, Ray is unmatched in the industry. Ray helps two types of people. Those with existing life insurance can save an average of roughly around $40,000 per couple, and those with no insurance can do it right the first time. Contact Independent Life Insurance today to learn more about Ray services and protect your loved ones.
Yes.
Man, almost sound official, huh?
Yes, make sure to check out Rob Poleki on all his social media pages. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow Behind the Lava Lava and leave us a review. And thank you for joining us. We hope you found this interview informative and insightful. This is Michael Tan, Johnny Suolevai, signing off. Behind the Lava Lava, Jofaso Ifua.